And it's tricky because sometimes we don't know, if you're letting go of something that's of the old, and you even may know that on some level of yourself you have to let go of it, whatever it is, but you can't see what the new is. You can't see where you're going. So there's this hollow, this emptiness in front of you. So it's getting to the point of trusting in life.
Yeah.
Trusting in that consciousness that when you let go of something, then the new will appear. As you pick up your foot and take the next step, the new will appear. And that is the hardest thing for a human being to do. And that's what we're learning.
I think it is, actually. Yeah. Yeah, I meet a lot of people that like to know where they're going and like to plan everything ahead.
Yeah, have it all worked out.
Yeah, all that. But I meet some people that don't know where they're going at all too. They don't know what's happening.
But are they rested within that, in peace, or they're in turmoil inside?
Mostly wanting to escape it.
Yep, that's
to escape, like, not knowing.
I've never, very rare people that I meet in my work that are settled with, I have no idea, but I'm at peace with it.
Yeah.
But it's something we can learn.
Yeah. I think it'd actually be a beautiful thing for people that are quite lost and not knowing where they're going to actually just be okay with that and just know that that's just where they are right now, and to have some sort of faith that things will come good.
And so, they always do.
Yeah, they do.
Always do.
They do.
But going into that, into peace is really important. So that's going to take us to our next, to our first music break, George.
Beautiful.
Cat Stevens, Peace Train. Welcome back. This is Christine Hart-Savage, and you're listening to Mind, Body, Heart and Soul. And today in the studio, I have the author of The Truth, George Seraphim. And we are speaking about Christ consciousness, what that is, what it means for our planet, what it means for us as people. And it's an area that I have a great passion about, and so does George.
Yeah, the good old Christ consciousness plan.
So we're really enjoying ourselves in here, aren't we? The discussions on the breaks are great.
Yeah.
And George, I'll just... The channeled information in your book is just wonderful. And a lot of the information reminds me of the Ascended Masters teachings that I've been studying since 1999. And I used to have these dreams. I still have different dreams, but they weren't like dreams. But there was this person that would come into my dreams and teach me, and his name was Saint Germain. And I had no idea who Saint Germain was. And one day I was meditating, and I got this feeling that I had to go into the TS bookshop.
Yeah.
And I'd never been in there. I didn't know where it was, and I had appointments, and I only really had about, less than 2 hours. And I thought, this is crazy, but the force was so strong. And so I looked it up, and it was in town. I went racing into town, found a park, went up the stairs, and had no idea why I was there. And I was sort of directed, if you like, to this particular bookshelf, and I stood still, and there was green spines along, but these two particular green spines, and I thought, well, I have no idea what that is. And it was the first 2 books of a 16-book series of the Ascended Masters teaching called the I Am series. And when I just bought the 2 books.
Yeah.
And after that, I bought the whole lot, because there were experiences written about in the early 1900s, these were written, that I've had in my own life. Like the thing that I used to call the dome was the tube of light.
Yeah.
And there were so many experiences in these books, and I used to read them and sort of hug them and cry, because it was these experiences are so real. They're more, just as real as life, if not more real.
Yeah.
And in your book and the channelings that you've written about there, it just fits. I mean, truth is truth, isn't it?
I guess those books that you bought from the TS bookshop really just fermented, what experiences you were having.
Absolutely.
Back then, so I can relate to that too.
It's like you need it, don't you? You think, wow, if other people someone somewhere must be having the same experiences, but if you don't meet them in your life, you feel a bit like the odd one.
It's actually awesome when you get a book and you read it and it just
justifies.
Everything that you're going through.
Yeah.
You know, I actually had that experience. One book that I had that experience was The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. I read that whole book from start to finish really quickly, and I just felt like, you know, that whole book was about me, basically, and it started me off. That was one of the books that really started me off on you know, this journey that I've been on for so long, you know. So
that book, The Way of the...
Those things are just great.
It's fantastic. It really validates you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
My son, I bought him that book, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior, a few years ago now. Yeah. And I thought, I think this book would be perfect for him, but I hadn't read it. And I was just going by my feeling. And I knew Dan Millman's a great writer.
Yeah, it's a Dan Millman. It's a Dan Millman book. Yeah.
And it's his favourite book. He read it and he read it and he reread it and he marked passages in it, and he said, "Oh, Mum, this has just got so much really great higher knowledge in it. You know, stuff like you believe in and you teach, but it's in a story form."
Yeah, it was. It's all written in a story form, and at the end, at the end was the best part where I think he meets his guides at the end, reaches enlightenment and meets his soul family, which is just amazing. So beautiful book. I think it's a true story.
Yes,
it's a true story. It actually happened
his story.
To Dan Millman.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. So
that's why he does this amazing work with people now too, in raising consciousness.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few amazing people on the planet doing their work in a way that they're raising the cellular consciousness of human beings, and they don't even realise, perhaps, or maybe we don't realise, any of us.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because all these souls that are here on Earth, who are of you know, a higher awareness, are actually, they're like a blanket all over the Earth, holding the energy that's being streamed into the Earth, and they're holding it, you know, in their hearts, and they're actually streaming it onwards, you know, to and around the people in their lives, to, you know, so, you know, the people in their lives can actually lift their hearts up to, you know, to the Christ consciousness plan, and to the energy that's going to be reinstated back on Earth eventually. It's actually going to be in a couple of 100 years' time. Actually, I was reading through the information that I'd written in my book, and there's something about an age that's going to be in about 500 years from now, I think. So. It's.
Gee, I was hoping it was going to be next year, George.
Well, it's this year is actually what I'm seeing actually this year. It's such a beautiful year, because a lot of my friends, a lot of the people that I know, are actually being forced to, well, not forced really. That's not really a word that I should be using, but they're actually, what's coming up is, you know, what they really want to do in their lives, and they're really questioning.
Propelled, you know, propelled in a way.
It's more of a question of working from the heart, basically, and I think it's just that's just happening to millions and millions of people on Earth, and you can just imagine, like, you know, in 6 months' time, when, you know, all those millions of people that's being brought up with right now. If a lot of us are actually working from our hearts, like it'll cause a massive shift in consciousness, even this year. I know there's been a massive hoo-ha about, you know, what's going to be happening around 2012, and that's basically what it is. It's this Christ consciousness energy that's being streamed onto Earth, which is basically forcing us all to unite with our true selves, and to reinstate peace in our own lives, and therefore on Earth.
Yes, I totally concur with you there, and it's about leaving the old behind and stepping into the new. Yeah. With peace in our hearts.
Yeah. So, with, you know, times spoken of, you know, in hundreds of years from now, there's going to be some pretty amazing things happen back then. But I guess, we should all really live for the moment right now, and I guess not really worry about what's going to be happening in hundreds of years' time. But Yeah, I'd love
being
to
present.
talk about what's going to be happening in the future.
Let's do that. But being present is, seeing as you've brought that up, is a really, really important area, because it's in being present that we find stillness.
Yeah.
And in that now moment, and it's in that stillness that peace exists.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when, I deal with a lot of people with anxiety and depression and overwhelm and chronic fatigue, that type of thing. And when they release that density inside them, that emotional stuff, it's amazing how quickly people can go into that stillness and they experience peace in their mind, in their body, in their emotions, and it's their spirit as well. So it does all levels. And it's really easy to get to.
It is actually really, really easy to get to. There's a lot of fear about doing this sort of work. When you're not used to it, or you haven't been brought up with you might have been brought up in a religious background, a very strict religious background, or you might have been brought up in an atheist type of background. But all the work that we do with regards to going within and releasing stagnant energy and raising, the vibration of our brains and our hearts and our minds, is so fulfilling. I can't, begin to describe, the impact that it's had on me and my life, and the experiences that I've had, and through it all, the people that I've met along the way. Yourself, obviously. I mean, to me, all I see is somebody who actually is of Christ consciousness. So all the work that you do every day, you live it and breathe it. You live it and breathe it every day. It really opens up. For me, it's opened up so many doorways. It's unlocked so many keys, and it will continue to for the rest of my life. And the experiences that I have and the knowledge that I'll be able to impart onto others through that is invaluable. So and the
guidance that you receive. The promptings from that opening and that higher power that comes in that we're calling Christ consciousness today.
Yeah.
I mean, we're very loved. Every single human being is so loved, but we're just not in touch with that most of the time.
Yeah. See, I used to see the whole events that are taking shape on Earth with regards to the quickening and the Christ consciousness plan through a perspective of. So a lot of the time I'd see it as, all the negative things that are happening on Earth, what's going to be happening, blah, blah, blah and stuff. But it's almost like everything's about perspective and really understanding ourselves in terms of how pure we are. The old ideologies of power and control are old ideologies.
Yes.
They haven't worked, and they'll basically continue to, instate this low-level, thought vibration, in the earth plane, which is keeping everything at a very sort of, unevolved level. So the Christ consciousness plan is basically lifting, it's lifting the old ideologies of power and control away from Earth. And eventually we're going to see even, borders between countries being removed.
Until we become one whole planet.
Yeah.
Unified.
The controlling ways of, certain hierarchies that are out there are basically going to be removed. They're not working anymore. And
it's all separation, isn't it? It's all about the separation.
The funny thing about it all is that nobody can run from it either. You can't run from from God. You can't run from the light that's being streamed onto earth, and the only thing that you can basically do is lift your heart to it or resist it.